Hello, welcome to Tea with the Druid 23. I have rushed into this other room to be able to broadcast this because the internet went down elsewhere in my study. But it's great to be with you. And tell me if you're here, and tell me this time how you're feeling. Say where you're from and how you're feeling. I'm feeling wonderfully calm and relaxed, having come back from a retreat, an Obod retreat. Lua Soleil Avalon says hi from Glastonbury. Say how you feel, Lua. It's do check in with how you're feeling, Wyoming and Nova Scotia and Tara and Liz, as a way of including yourself. I feel wonderfully calm, even though I've had to rush in here and move the microphone and everything to be with you. Because I've spent 4 days in the company of Druids, meditating, walking the land. We've had some lovely weather. It's been very beautiful. And I've got to know a part of the world that I used to drive through on the way to my grandmother, but never actually stopped off in and explored. And it's always good to do that. And we've got all sorts of, somebody's got a headache, somebody's got heartache, somebody's feeling calm and relaxed, and somebody's feeling a bit tired, somebody's relaxed and happy. Hooray, yes. Keep on typing those in. Feeling ill, oh dear, I'm sorry, Sulky, that's a shame. Well, let's make our time together as healing and as helpful as possible. And as I was driving back from the retreat today, I was thinking about the latest Mount Hemus paper. You know, the Order gives an award every year, once a year, around this Beltane time. The Order publishes the research of somebody who has been awarded a scholarship for research into Druidry or a related subject. And so this year, Dr. Donna Driscoll, a member of the Order, has done some very interesting research into the way we use and work with one of the key components in the Druid tradition from way back, the Eisteddfod, the artistic festival, the Eisteddfod, which you may know, it's a Welsh word, it means a festival of listening. You may know it from, it's televised every year, the Royal National Eisteddfod from Wales. But in the Order, we encourage Eisteddfod Hour, which is the plural, at Druid gatherings. And so in this retreat I've just been on, in the evenings we would sing songs together, play music, listen to poetry, listen to stories that people would contribute. And of the various conclusions that Dana has made from researching this, and she's researched it using scientific methods of interviews and questionnaires and so on, she's determined that the Order uses the Eisteddfod in a different way. And this is really interesting, I think. She says that the Eisteddfod is used by the Order Bards, Ovates and Druids in a very interesting and helpful way for many people, because the focus is not on the end product, but on the process of actually contributing. It encourages contribution. So the focus is not on product, but on process. So what does that mean exactly? The focus is on product, not process. What it means is this: in the traditional Eisteddfods, it would be very competitive, and you're aiming for perfection. You're aiming to produce a poem or to sing a song or to play some music in an excellent way. And you win prizes as a result of that. And in fact, Eisteddfod start in the school system in Wales, and then gradually people move up to be able to perform in National Eisteddfod. The way we use it in Obod is different. We encourage everybody to participate. And the focus is on the joy of participation, the joy of trying rather than achieving. And just take that for a moment and think about what would that would mean in our lives if we shifted our focus from achieving, going for the accomplishment, the achievement, the success, the perfection of an excellent performance or an excellent piece of work. And instead we shifted our focus to the joy of actually trying. It's actually really quite big. And it reminds me of an idea in psychology that was promoted by, first of all, by Donald Winnicott, who was a British psychoanalyst. And he came up with this idea of the good enough parent. So he felt that a child's development and psychological and emotional development was served by good enough parenting, not perfect parenting. And that's really very interesting, isn't it? If you really take that on board, if those of you who've kind of brought up kids, you know how, there can be quite a stress to be a really good parent. I want to be a good parent. Of course you want to be. You want to be the best parent. And that can easily slip into, I want to be the perfect parent to my child. But what if instead we're talking about the good enough parent? I have a friend who is a fellow author, and he was talking about the concept of a good enough book, because for those of you who write, you know how easy it is to get into that perfectionist trap of wanting to write absolutely the best book. But my friend Barry said, what I'm focusing on right now, or allowing into my life, is the idea of the good enough book. Relieves a huge amount of pressure. So it makes for more fun, says Patrick Bourgeois. Exactly. And it takes away that idea that's so pervasive in our world today of competition, of perfectionism, and for striving. We see in these constant kind of TV programs of elimination. No, you're not good enough. The Bake Off, and there are dozens of clones of this idea of only being the best, and we wean out all the chaff just to get to the best. And this frees one up hugely, I think. And so I thought, let's take this idea. So we've seen how this idea works in Obod with the Eisteddfod, where we encourage people. We have, a big fire, or if we're indoors, of course, we don't set fire to anything, as we were over the last few days, and just people encouraged. And it's so touching, and it's more human in a way. If people just speak from their hearts and try out their poem or try out their song, it may not be the best song in the world, it may not be the best poem in the world, but it's beautiful, and it's human, and it's touching. So we've seen how that relates to psychology and how it's used in psychology and parenting. And it occurred to me that we could use this idea of being good enough, of emphasizing and being interested in trying rather than in achieving, in trying rather than excellence. It removes the fear of failure, says Karen. Exactly. What if we applied that in our spiritual lives? I wonder how much, I know certainly for me, ever since I kind of got bitten by the idea of the spiritual path and wanted to follow a spiritual path, it's so easy to become driven and to really drive yourself, constantly seeking a deeper experience, a deeper understanding, a greater illumination, a more profound experience. But what would it be like if I allowed myself to be a good enough spiritual seeker, for my meditation not to be the best, to be perfect, to be excellent, but just to be good enough? And so I thought I'd try. Do join me in this experiment. I thought, let's just try it together and see if it's helpful. See if we can go that way. So let's move into our meditation now, and just try this. And I'll just say things, come up with words that hopefully helps us to get into that frame of mind. And so in our usual way, let's put down the Southern Comfort and the lemonade, Jason. And if it feels better to close your eyes to better concentrate on yourself. And you might become aware of being in the sacred grove, this magical place where Druids like to meet, either in real clearings in the forest or in an imaginary clearing. It's a safe space. For other people, it might be a meadow or another kind of setting, but for Druids and for many others too, we like to imagine a sacred grove, the earth beneath our feet. And so just letting the anxieties and the troubles of the day or the stresses of the day, if there have been any, there may have been none, but just allowing ourselves to relax into being here, the good earth beneath us, and just allowing us to breathe in the energy of the earth, just it coming up, flowing up into us, the healing energy of the earth, bringing us a sense of stability and grounding. And then becoming aware of the trees around us in this clearing, these beautiful trees, living beings, rooted deep in the soil, their trunks stretching high up, the branches and leaves in the air, the sunlight dappling through the leaves. And we can smell the trees, and we can sense how they're sharing their life with us. And we're breathing in and breathing out with the strength and the protection of the trees around us. And then we breathe in the energy of the sky. We can sense the sky above us, this vitalizing, vivifying, health-giving energy of the sky and of the air, breathing it in deeply, so that the energy of the sky meets the energy of the earth within the center of our being. And then, seated here in this grove, with this sense of peace, let's just open to the idea that however we're feeling, whatever our experience is, it's good enough. It's just what it is. So feel our bodies, and however we're feeling, we just allow that feeling and just accept that feeling. Of course we could feel healthier, of course we could feel different, but this is how we're feeling now. And we just allow this feeling. Just allowing ourselves to be seated here, open to the experience of the now. Our hearts, our feeling selves, just feeling however we're feeling. And that's good enough too. It's just what's happening for us right now. And opening also to our thinking self. And whatever thoughts are going through our minds, or whatever lack of thought is going through our minds, it's okay too. It could probably be better, maybe, but that's not the point. It's just what we're thinking right now and what we're experiencing right now. Just celebrating having a mind, having feelings, having the sensation of being embodied in this world, having the sensation of being in this grove, enjoying the moment, enjoying being here. Enjoying too the sense of support and community that comes from knowing that we're not alone, that there are actually hundreds of us experiencing this now, all over the world. Hundreds of us tuning in, just accepting, resisting any feelings or thoughts, just accepting being here in the sacred grove, breathing in the energy of the sky, and allowing that energy to meet the energy of the earth within the center of our beings. And we ask for a blessing on our lives, a blessing on all life, and a blessing on the earth, a blessing on the land. And then slowly we allow our awareness of being in the sacred grove to gently fade, keeping the feelings of well-being, of accepting, of presence, keeping these feelings of being present and accepting whatever we're feeling and thinking and sensing right now, and that it's good enough for us. It's good enough that we're alive, that we're here now, and that in this moment we're together now too. And slowly being aware of being seated in front of a computer or a phone or a tablet. Slowly we open our eyes. And here we are. And so I don't know how that feels. It was an experiment. That's what I love about this medium is, it's not slick. We haven't got sort of some high definition camera. I'm just sitting here in the order's office, the trees outside, just talking with you here. And a huge hi from Brazil to everyone, from Melissa. Lovely. It feels really great to share the earth attribute of feeling fully alive, being here and now. And Petra says that this felt like fennel tea. That would be an interesting question, wouldn't it? If that meditation was a tea, what kind of tea would it be? Because this is tea with a druid, isn't it, after all? So for Petra, it feels like fennel tea. I like fennel tea, it's lovely. So that feels good, I think. Martha's saying, I needed this clarity today and feeling much less stressed now. I think a meditation like that helps us to, so much of our psychic energy, builder's tea, says Ranvik. So much of our energy is spent in resisting the what is, just resisting how we're feeling. And I know it can seem strange to accept feelings that aren't comfortable. If if you're not feeling comfortable in your body or your heart or your mind, it can feel strange to allow those feelings. But what happens when we do is often they change just simply in allowing them. Very common thing in group therapy. I remember, with the days when I was doing lots of sort of group therapy with people, everybody come in and people would say, I'm feeling a little disconnected. For instance, it's quite a common feeling, when you come into a big group. And then often people would say, oh, well, having said that, having just said I feel disconnected, now I feel quite connected with everybody. Somebody else would come in and say, I feel a bit lonely, but having just said that, I actually feel like I'm together now with you, So that's a paradoxical experience that can happen. It's when we allow the fact that it isn't perfect. I'm not feeling perfect today. This isn't, I haven't become enlightened in this meditation. I haven't had the most profound spiritual experience in my life. But actually just in voicing that and allowing it, maybe I just go a little bit deeper. And it's good enough. It's good enough. So Jason is saying, meditation doesn't have to be long then. Well, I'll tell you, Jason, the two reasons why I make these meditations short. One is because I think it's good to keep these broadcasts to about 20 minutes. it's you know, that feels the right time. It's enough. It's a little taste, but you can go deep. And it's, even though these meditations are short, what I hope you find is that you can go deep with them. And that's quite interesting, because often we tell ourselves that meditation is difficult, it requires discipline, we have to spend a lot of time doing it. And I hope these meditation experiences indicate that actually you can actually go quite deep quite quickly and gain a benefit from it. And then, of course, if you want to carry on, you can carry on in your own time. You can watch this again. If a particular meditation in one of these recordings helps you, there's no reason why you can't watch the recording, go in, and then click the pause button and then stay in that state. But there's another reason why they're short, which is, you know, I don't know who this is reaching. Anybody can watch these videos, and meditation can be quite a powerful experience for people. And as Selkie says, short is good. If you don't want to take people too deep in an online meditation where they might be on the other side of the world going through some kind of psychological difficulties or stress, and taking people too deep for too long isn't actually good. So by doing it in this way, it helps us to connect. We get a feel for it, and then if we want to do more, we can. So that's why they are short. So Ranvig, if that's the right Vig is I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry, but I felt very strongly supported and energized by everyone else, even though I was not making a very big effort. It makes a difference just to be together. Builder's tea equals simple, lovely, and utterly indispensable. I agree with you. And that is why I am going to get some more tea, a builder's tea. And it's lovely to see you. And I see Peter Corsten, who was on the retreat. I just saw him just a few hours ago. So it's nice to see people who are on the retreat with us. So that's great. And AD in New Zealand, that's lovely. So look, lovely to see you all. Many blessings. See you again next week, next Monday, and I will come back. I'll read all your comments, so do continue to write them if you feel moved to. And have a lovely week, and see you next Monday. Okay, lots of love and many blessings.